morning, everybody. You hear Mr. Furley in the background. He thinks he's the shit now that he's had his grooming session. He actually hears the garbage truck outside. Reading in the paper about 3-year-old Braylon Rain Coulter. She was 3 years old. She lives in our neighboring city of High Point here in North Carolina. She was viciously attacked Monday at her home by the family pet, which was a pit bull, and she died. According to the paper, they had 2 pit bulls. One of the neighbors was talking about the pit bulls had dug under a fence at one point and attacked another dog. The pit bull that killed Braylon on Monday had bitten somebody else earlier in the day. The neighbors say that these pit bulls did have aggressive tendencies. The lady that lived next door said when her and her boys would go out, if the pit bulls were out, they would go back in. She was very scared of them. You know, I might get a lot of slack on this video, but that's okay because everybody is entitled to their opinion. You know, for all you people who own your pit bulls out there, and some of my friends have pit bulls, and my sister has a pit bull. You know, that's fine. You know, that's fine. I choose myself not to be around a pit bull. If I know you have one, I won't be in your home. I'm not coming around a pit bull because me, as a rule of thumb anyway, I'm scared of dogs. That's why my dog is only 5 pounds, you know. Of course, I had Duke, and he was an 80-pound dog, but he was a Sheltie. But, you know, I've always been a little bit scared of dogs. As far as Mr. Furley goes, even though, like I said, he's a poodle, and he's only 5 pounds, I really don't trust him around a lot of people because he has aggressive tendencies, too. You know, he probably wouldn't be able to hurt you, but I really wouldn't trust him around children or somebody that was scared of dogs. But back to Braylon. Braylon, they said she was even, you know, she would even hug up to the dog. You know, of course, that was a family dog. They loved their dogs. They loved their daughter. But the dog happened to turn on Braylon about 5 o'clock on Monday. The parents didn't feel like they had time to call 911. She had stomach wounds, abdomen wounds. They had to call 911 while they were rushing her to the hospital themselves. They called 911, told them that their daughter had been bit by a dog. They was trying to keep her breathing, but she was dying. And she later died at High Point Hospital. They've set up a fund now to pay for her funeral expenses and other expenses for Braylon Rain Coulter. You can look that up. Braylynn, Raynnecoulter. That's how you spell her name. Look it up. It's an online fund. It's been set up to help with her funeral expenses and other expenses. The family dog that did this to Braylon has been put down. Not sure what they plan to do with the other pit bull. But as far as Braylon goes, you know, her family says she enjoyed her time in nature. The highlight of her day was going to the park. So she was an outdoors little girl. The family had a sign on their back door that said, "Beware the dog." Well, that doesn't mean a lot when you have big, aggressive dogs because they can get out, they can dig. This is another thing. When I say this, people are going to tell me, or people are going to tend to say, well, I have a pit bull. My pit bull's never caused any trouble. That may be. Or they may say, it's how you train a pit bull. It's all how you train them. If you're good to them, then you know, they're not going to hurt you. That's not true. You know, well, I guess it is true in a way. You may have a pit bull for many years and it never hurts you. And be the most loyal, loving dog ever. There's nothing wrong with that. But they have an aggressive nature. You know, it's not every pit bull that's going to attack. But every now and then you're going to have one that's going to turn. That's why I choose not to be around them. And for the people who say it's how you train them, no. Just like, look at all these, look at these killers, these rapists and killers and child predators. Were they raised that way? No. They weren't raised that way. But there's something in them. They had those tendencies, and they acted on those tendencies. And so I believe these aggressive pit bulls that kill was born with something in them that can snap and put them at a higher risk for being aggressive, for being able to kill, just like humans kill. So, you might have the best pit bull in the world, but don't ask me to walk into your house. And you might... See, this is the thing about it. Whenever anybody gives their opinion on a pit bull, you pit bull owners get pissed off. You get really, really pissed off, and that's just not necessary. That's not necessary. I'm just giving my opinion, just like you give yours. You have every right to have your dog. You have every right to love your dog. I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying I choose not to have a pit bull. I choose not to be around a pit bull. Here where I live at, the people behind me, when they first moved in, they had pit bull. The dogs that we have here where I live at are supposed to be indoor dogs. You can't have an outdoor dog here. You can't fence in your yard. You can't have an outdoor dog. So they had a pit bull, but what they had done was they had put like a doghouse under their patio, and they had that pit bull on a chain. Well, I was scared of that because that was right outside my back door. So Joe would come down and, keep my grass cut. And so I told him one time, I said, because most of the time he would cut my grass while I would be at work. And I told him, I said, the neighbors back behind the house have a pit bull that's under their patio. Watch out for that dog. He's like, I'm not scared of that dog, even though he thinks that they have aggressive tendencies too. He said he was just throwing the lawnmower up at him. But, if a dog comes to attack you, a lot of times you're just not going to see it. But apparently somebody turned that dog in, and they had to get rid of the dog. So, but... and it was a puppy. It wasn't full grown. And I was so glad to see that dog go, because I would have just been so uncomfortable with that thing living right outside my back door. Because that was before I got Mr. Furley. So, and I like to take Mr. Furley out in the backyard rather than the front yard, because my backyard neighbors, it's just basically adults, and they're always working, so I hardly ever see them. Out the front door, you got kids and stuff running around, and if I take Mr. Furley out there, they tend to want to come over and play with him, and Mr. Furley's not fond of children. He's just, Mr. Furley don't like kids. So, anyway, so if you would like to donate to the Braylon Rain Coulter Fund, her funeral is tomorrow, I believe. Her wake is tonight from 7 to 9. Her funeral will be tomorrow. But certainly donations don't have to stop there. You can go online, and I'm sure you can donate, about any time you want to. She's a beautiful little girl. I've got her picture at the beginning of this video. And so what do you think about pit bulls? Do you think that they should be banned? There was... in Virginia, I think at one point, I think it was last year, year before last, that they were trying to ban them. So, it wouldn't bother me if they banned them. Just like this one man had his little grandson laying on the floor and had his pit bull for many, many years, and the pit bull just walked into the room and grabbed the baby by the throat, shook the baby around and killed him. I have a friend of mine that I work with whose uncle, I believe, ran a pit bull farm, raised pit bulls. And she said that he had 2 pit bulls of his own that he kept inside his house, let them out in the backyard now and then. And he had his little granddaughter out in the backyard. And that all of a sudden, one of those pit bulls just turned and grabbed that little girl and killed her right there in the backyard. And he had to go inside the house and get a gun, and he came out, and not only did he shoot the pit bull that attacked his granddaughter, but he shot his other pit bull. And now he will never have another pit bull, he said. But he was one that would always say, it's how you raise them. And now he's changed his mind on that. You know, he sees firsthand, it's been his experience firsthand anyway. So what do you think? Do you have pit bulls? Would you have a pit bull? Are you afraid of a pit bull? And do you think that some states should ban pit bulls? Would you live in a neighborhood with a pit bull? Until next time, bye-bye.